Hi guys, welcome to another Barb Stamps video. In today's video, we're going to be making this card using the Sailing Home bundle, which includes the Sailing Home stamp set and the smooth sailing dies. These are shown in the catalog on pages 144 through 146 is the Sailing Home suite. So we start on pages 144 and 145. We have a nice layout of projects that you could create using these products in the suite. We've got the suite listing here of everything that you can get in the suite. If you want to just order everything, we have a very convenient number up here, which includes all of these items: the stamp set, the dies, the folder, the designer series paper, the memories and more card pack, the baker's twine, and of course the little trinkets. And then on the next page of the suite, it's a 3-page spread, we have some larger images of the designer series paper along with the stamp set showing all the things. If they're white, it means they have a coordinating die. If they're a little bit of a vanilla tan color, it means they have a coordinating punch. So we're using those items today in our card. So the stamp set includes all these images here. And then we have the coordinating dies along with some other dies that aren't necessarily cropped by stamps. So I've gone ahead and made my little cheat sheet that I like to show you everything that it does. So the couple sentiments here, these larger ones, they will fit on this fun tag die here. The congrats and the thanks will both fit in this cute little label. We have, of course, the large anchor, the lighthouse, the 2 sizes of sailboats. And then we have this compass that you can crop out with the 1.5-inch circle punch. We have the long piece of rope. We have the rope knot. We have the ship's wheel. And then we have 2 little skinny dies to create the compass hands, if you so desire. So I've got a compass hand on here. And then I just have one of our metallic pearls on there to make it look like, you know, the center of the hand, so you could spin those around. And then we have this cute seaweed piece here in the die set. So you do get 12 dies in the set along with 12 stamps in the stamp set. And then we will take a quick look at the designer series papers. This is the Come Sail Away designer series paper package, and you get 12 by 12 sheets. These are just 6 by 6s for my samples. So you get 12 by 12 sheets, excuse me. And these are our patterns. So we have these 6 patterns on one side. You flip it over, and then you have these 6 patterns on the other side. We are going to make this card using the supplies in this suite today. So let me gather my supplies to create this, and I will be right back. All right, here's the supplies to create the card. We're going to start with a 1.5 by 3-inch piece of the designer series paper. Here's the 2 sides. I have a 3 by 4.25-inch piece of balmy blue that we will layer on a 3 1/8 by 4 5/8 piece of Night of Navy. I have a scrap of soft suede. I have my thick Whisper White card base, which measures 8.5 by 5.5. I folded that in half, and I do like to use my thick white and thick vanilla cardstock for bases because it just holds up a lot better. And when a person has it standing on their table or desk, it's not going to fall over. It's not going to kind of like splay out because it's a little bit thicker than our regular cardstock. I think I said the scrap of soft suede, and then we have some white for some stamping and die cutting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to do some die cutting. So I'm going to take where's my stamp? I've got the thanks stamp here with a small scrap of white, and I'm going to stamp that on here and right in the center. Oops. Okay. And then I'm going to take this piece over to my big shot, this piece over to my big shot, and this white sheet over to my big shot. I'm going to get some die cuts, and I'll be right back with those. I'm also going to run this balmy blue piece through the swirls and curls folder, and then I'll bring all these things back. Okay, so here we go. So here we have the layer that's ran through with the swirls and curls folder. I did use the skinny rope die to get this piece of rope. I got myself a lighthouse, a large sailboat, and then I did crop my sentiment with that fun little label. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with our Stamparatus. So here's my Stamparatus. I already have it set with my stamps. bring that in for a base to stamp on. So what I did originally was I placed all these stamps on my plate of my Stamparatus. Then I inked them all up. I stamped them on a piece of white, and then I took this piece of white over to my machine, and I very carefully placed the dies on there precisely. I used washi tape. I got them down so that now my my template here is ready to be filled. And now I'm making a lot of these cards. I'm doing them as a swap. So for repetitive stamping, this is the way to go. So all I need to do now is to take my die cuts and place my, what I call blanks, into their respective spots here. And then we can ink these up and use them. So I'm going to use some crumb cake ink to start with, and I'm going to ink up my lighthouse with the crumb cake. And then on this large sailboat here, I'm going to use my markers. Maybe I'll zoom in a little. So I've got my Stampin' Write markers here. I've got the brush tip, and I am going to just color the water that's right here below the boat with the balmy blue. Okay. Then I'm going to open up my balmy blue ink pad, and I'm going to use a sponge dauber. I'm going to get a little ink on there, and I'm going to do the top part of the boat, so mostly the sails. Ink that up again, get a little more ink on there. So I'm just getting the sails here. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy, and I do have some ink on this already, and I'm just going to lightly tap a little bit of Night of Navy ink kind of down the middle of this larger sail and on the edge. And then I'm going to bring in my crumb cake Stampin' Write marker. Oops, I did get a little bit of Night of Navy here, so I'm going to wipe that off. Okay. And I got some right there too. All right, so then I'm going to take my crumb cake marker and I'm going to color in the base of the boat here. Okay, so that's done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my Stamparatus plate over and stamp it on these things. Let me zoom out. All right, so we will fold that over, press down on those two stamps, and then yay, look what we have. So I have my lighthouse done in the crumb cake, and then my sailboat. The sails are a couple of different colors, and then I have the water down here, and then we have the boat shape itself. So, all right, so we are done with our Stamparatus. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Chamois now, and I'm just going to clean off the stamps. I love this chamois for cleaning off the stamps. All right, we can put that away. Move some of these things out of the way here. Bring my pieces and parts back in. So I'm going to use my Night of Navy layer, and we are going to bring in the compass image. Whoops, I got a little fuzzy on there. We're going to ink up that compass image in the Night of Navy, and I'm going to stamp it here in the center of my Night of Navy layer. And then I'm going to bring in my 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch that out. Whoops, that I got a little too high. We're going to bring it down a little bit so it's closer to the edge. There we go. Again, I'm going to slide my punch over that image. It crops perfectly. And now I have, oops, not that one. There's my compass. All right. So I think I have all my pieces now. So all I need to do now is just assemble everything. So I'm going to move the ink out of the way, bring in my card base and all my other pieces, and we'll start with this layer here. We're going to glue the Designer Series paper to the embossed piece right down here at the bottom. And when I'm working with embossed cardstock, I like to use my liquid glue because I just find that it holds better than using snail or glue dots or something like that. And then this layer we're going to glue to that layer of Night of Navy, and you can see we punch that hole out of it, but it's just a paper saving technique. Where no one's going to see where that hole was, so it doesn't matter that it's no longer there. So we will just center this. Okay. Press that into place. And then we're just going to add that to the front of the card. But first we're going to add our, let's see where to go. Here's my little rope. So I'm going to put a small bead of glue across the top edge of this designer series paper. You can see that's just really thin. I don't want it thick because I don't want it to squish out all over the place. And then I'm going to take my rope image and we're just going to like cover the seam of where the designer series paper meets the embossed piece. Okay. Let's press that into place gently. Grab a pair of scissors and we're going to snip off the excess. Easy peasy. Go ahead and ink up glue. Add glue, not ink. Hello. Add some glue there. Okay. That pressed into place. And then we can start layering our pieces on. So we're going to end up sticking our compass about right there. And then our lighthouse is going to go behind. But the lighthouse is a little long. I don't need quite that much. So I'm going to snip some of it off. I still want it to come out. And then we're going to add our sailboat about like so. And then where is my sentiment? Here it is. And then my sentiment is going to go right there. So I'm going to add a couple of mini dimensionals to the back of my sentiment. Oops, that wasn't a dimensional. That was a dimensional backing. Oops. Geez, I got butterfingers today. Okay, get the dimensional backing off there. And then we're going to put this about like so. Kind of know where we're going to put our lighthouse. So again, we're going to use some liquid glue. Add the lighthouse. About like that. We're going to lay the compass over it. Maybe move it up just a skosh. There we go. Add glue to the back of the compass. Put the compass on. And then for the sailboat, I'm going to add it with a couple of dimensionals. So we're going to use these minis just because some of the spots on this ship are a little bit smaller. Ship. I always say ship when I'm talking about these. These are boats. These are sailboats, not ships. Okay, and then we'll just add our sailboat like so. So the last thing we're going to do to this card is we're going to add one of our sail away trinkets, and we're going to use one of the ship's wheels. Look at the detail on that. It's so fun, and they're pretty flat, so they don't really add a lot of bulk. I am going to kind of roll a glue dot with my fingernail. And then I will just get that behind the ship's wheel there. And we will just add it to the card right down here. So there we have it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to my channel down here in the corner. You can always place your orders with me at shoppingwithbarb.com. I do offer free gifts with purchase. And as I always say, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.